One of the biggest mistakes preppers make when bugging in is overestimating their food and water supplies. It's easy to look at shelves stacked with cans, bags of rice, or bottled water and feel a sense of security. But when you start living off those supplies, reality sets in fast. A family of 4 can burn through food much quicker than you imagine, especially if the meals are not carefully rationed or planned. What looks like a 3-month supply on paper may turn into a 1-month supply once you factor in extra calories burned from stress, manual labor, or simply not being used to strict portions. Water is even more critical. The average person needs at least 1 gallon per day for drinking and basic hygiene, and that number can easily double in hot climates or during illness. Many preppers make the mistake of storing only a few cases of bottled water or a couple of barrels, not realizing how fast that will run out when the entire household is relying on it. Another hidden danger is assuming food variety doesn't matter. Eating the same bland meals every day leads to food fatigue, where people, especially children, start refusing to eat. This can cause malnutrition even if there are technically enough calories stored. In an SHTF scenario, you won't be able to just run to the store for what you're missing, and relying on hunting, fishing, or gardening without prior experience is risky at best. The smart move is to calculate realistic consumption rates, run your food supplies by living off them for a week, and always store more than you think you'll need. Rotate supplies so nothing spoils, and back up stored water with filtration systems to make local sources usable when storage runs dry. Overestimating what you have gives a false sense of security, and when that illusion shatters in the middle of a crisis, it may already be too late. Careful planning and brutally honest assessments of your stockpile can be the difference between survival and desperation. Another critical mistake that many preppers make when bugging in is neglecting home security. In a real SHTF scenario, desperation changes people, and even good neighbors can turn into threats if their families are starving and they know you have supplies. Too often, people assume that simply locking the doors and closing the blinds is enough, but that is a dangerous illusion. Criminals and looters will be looking for easy targets, and if your home appears unprotected, you've just painted a bullseye on yourself. Basic security measures like reinforced doors, solid deadbolt locks, and shatter-resistant window film can dramatically slow down forced entry, buying you precious time. Yet, many preppers overlook these upgrades or delay them until it's too late. Lighting is another often ignored factor. A home that is lit strategically with motion sensors or solar-powered lights outside discourages intruders who prefer to work in the dark. Some also fail to realize that security is not just about keeping people out. It's also about staying hidden. A house that broadcasts generators humming, lights shining, and the smell of cooking food drifting into the night will attract attention like a beacon. Blending in, or practicing gray man security, means making your home appear as unappealing as possible. Covering windows, controlling noise, and minimizing visible signs of supplies are all part of this. Finally, too many people fail to create layered security. One locked door won't protect you. You need barriers, deterrents, and fallback positions. This might mean fences, dogs, or even improvised warning systems like cans on strings or gravel paths to alert you of movement. Security should also include rehearsals with your family. Everyone should know what to do if someone tries to break in. The truth is, in times of chaos, your home is both your greatest asset and your greatest vulnerability. Ignoring security, or treating it as an afterthought, is one of the deadliest mistakes a prepper can make. Taking steps now to fortify your home, plan your defenses, and reduce your visibility can mean the difference between being overlooked and being overrun. Another major mistake that many preppers make when bugging in is underestimating the importance of water. People often stockpile food, ammunition, and medical supplies, but they forget that without clean water, survival is measured in days, not weeks. In a grid-down scenario, city water systems may fail quickly, and wells may require power that is no longer available. If you haven't stored enough water or don't have a way to purify it, you could quickly find yourself desperate. Experts often recommend at least 1 gallon per person per day, but in reality, you may need much more for cooking, sanitation, and medical needs. Many people think that a few cases of bottled water will be enough, but in a long-term crisis, that stash will disappear faster than you realize. Another oversight is failing to diversify water sources. Depending only on your tap or a nearby lake or river leaves you vulnerable. Water can become contaminated by chemicals, sewage, or even intentional sabotage. You need multiple methods: rainwater collection systems, filtration units, chemical purification tablets, and boiling capabilities. Equally dangerous is the mistake of not protecting your stored water. Large barrels or tanks left unsecured in your yard can draw attention from desperate neighbors or roving looters. Even inside the home, poorly sealed containers can lead to bacteria growth or leaks that ruin supplies. Your water cache should be hidden, rotated regularly, and protected from light and pests. Another overlooked detail is planning for gray water use. Preppers sometimes waste precious potable water on tasks like cleaning or flushing toilets, when alternative methods could be used. Separating drinking water from utility water conserves resources and extends your survival window. A true prepper also plans for long-term sustainability, digging a well if possible, installing rain catchment systems, and stocking portable filters to adapt to changing conditions. In an SHTF scenario, water will be more valuable than gold. Those who plan ahead will stay alive and healthy, while those who underestimate this necessity will be among the first to falter. Ignoring water preparedness is not just a mistake, it's a fatal flaw in any bugging strategy. Another critical mistake that many preppers make when bugging in is failing to manage waste and sanitation properly. In a functioning society, we take for granted that trash is collected, toilets flush, and sewage systems run smoothly. But when SHTF and the infrastructure collapses, all of that responsibility falls directly on you. If you're not prepared with a sanitation plan, your home can quickly become a breeding ground for disease, which could be just as deadly as any looter outside your door. One of the first issues that arises is the inability to flush toilets once the water system shuts down. Many people assume they can just pour stored water into the bowl, but this drains your drinking supply at an alarming rate. A smarter approach is to have alternatives ready, such as a composting toilet, a bucket toilet with heavy-duty bags, or even a designated latrine area outside that is properly distanced from water sources. Equally important is waste disposal. Accumulating garbage in or around your home not only smells bad, but attracts rodents, insects, and even desperate people who may notice signs of habitation. You need to stock up on heavy-duty trash bags, lime or bleach for treating waste, and safe areas where garbage can be buried or burned without contaminating food or water supplies. Another overlooked detail is personal hygiene. In stressful survival situations, it's easy to let basic cleanliness slip, but neglecting hygiene invites infections, rashes, and illnesses that can spread rapidly among family members. Having soap, hand sanitizer, wet wipes, and extra sets of clothing can make a huge difference. Gray water from washing or cooking should be disposed of carefully, never near your drinking water sources. Preppers also underestimate the psychological toll of poor sanitation. Living in filth lowers morale and creates tension within households already under stress. A clean, organized space not only prevents illness, but also provides a sense of stability in chaos. Ultimately, failing to prepare for sanitation is like inviting sickness into your stronghold. Food and water may keep you alive, but without proper waste management, disease can wipe out your household faster than hunger ever could. A strong sanitation plan is not optional, it's a survival necessity. Another major mistake that many preppers make when bugging in is neglecting their energy and power needs. When the grid goes down, so does the convenience of electricity that runs lights, refrigerators, heaters, and communication devices. Too often, people assume that candles and a few flashlights with extra batteries will be enough, but this thinking is short-sighted and can lead to serious problems over time. Energy is more than just a comfort, it's a tool for survival. Without power, your food storage may spoil, your ability to cook becomes limited, and even your capacity to defend your home can be weakened if you can't see at night or power critical devices. The first mistake is relying solely on one energy source. For example, a small gasoline generator can be very useful, but what happens when the fuel runs out or becomes unsafe to store? Generators also produce noise, which can draw unwanted attention from looters or desperate neighbors who hear you running power while they sit in the dark. That's why redundancy is essential. Solar panels, battery banks, propane stoves, wood, burning heaters, and even hand-crank chargers can give you layers of backup so you're not left powerless when one option fails. Another overlooked aspect is fuel storage and safety. People often store fuel improperly, which is both dangerous and wasteful. Gasoline, propane, and kerosene must be stored in the right containers, away from heat sources, and rotated to avoid degradation. Stockpiling fuel without considering ventilation, fire hazards, or the shelf life of each type is a mistake that can cause more harm than good. Lighting is another critical issue. Darkness creates vulnerability, both physically and psychologically. Having solar lanterns, rechargeable flashlights, and motion detection lights powered by batteries can make your home safer while conserving energy. You also need to ration your power use wisely. Running unnecessary appliances wastes resources that may be impossible to replace. Finally, communication devices like radios and walkie-talkies need reliable power to keep you informed about what's happening outside your walls. Without them, you are blind to changing threats or opportunities. Preppers who fail to think through energy planning risk being plunged into helplessness. Power is survival. It must be treated as a core part of your bug-in strategy. Another critical mistake that preppers often make when bugging in is ignoring the importance of sanitation and waste management. In normal times, we take running water, trash collection, and sewage systems for granted. But in an SHTF situation, those conveniences can disappear instantly, and if you're not prepared, poor sanitation can become just as deadly as hunger or lack of water. Disease spreads quickly when waste is not handled properly, and even a small slip-up can lead to sickness that weakens your entire household at the worst possible time. One of the first issues is human waste. If water stops flowing, toilets will no longer function, and people who fail to plan may find themselves in an unsanitary mess within days. Improvising without preparation, like dumping waste outdoors, creates contamination risks that can seep into your water supply or attract pests. A smart prepper will have alternatives ready, such as portable camping toilets, buckets with heavy-duty bags, or composting toilet systems. Storing lime, sawdust, or other materials to cover waste can help control odor and reduce the spread of bacteria. Trash disposal is another overlooked problem. When garbage piles up, it doesn't just smell, it draws insects, rodents, and even desperate people who can see signs of life inside your home. Planning how to minimize waste, recycle where possible, and safely store or burn non-toxic trash is essential to keeping your environment clean and secure. Water contamination is another danger tied directly to sanitation mistakes. Without proper hygiene, Even small amounts of bacteria or parasites can end up in your drinking supply, causing diarrhea, dehydration, or worse. Stockpiling soap, bleach, hand sanitizers, and disinfecting wipes may seem basic, but they become life-saving tools when regular systems fail. Finally, personal hygiene must never be ignored. Something as small as failing to wash hands before preparing food can create illness that spreads through the entire household. Keeping a supply of hygiene products like toothbrushes, toothpaste, feminine products, and wet wipes can maintain health and morale. Preppers who neglect sanitation are setting themselves up for disaster, no matter how much food, water, or ammunition they have. In a long-term bug-in, cleanliness truly becomes survival.